Alright, friend, we are back. Now, we are at the very last center of this particular introduction to the not self. And again, why did we drop you into the not self and the shadow aspect versus anything else? Because I need you to be able to see how the conditioned mind chats and natters, so that you can then recognize when your innate energy is shining through versus the not self, shadow, and distractions. So you have now you're coming from the G center. We've done the motors, we've done the awareness center, we've done the pressure centers, and we've got to the origins of human design. And now we're going to wrap up with the throat center. So the throat center is our only manifestation center. So all roads lead to Rome. When the pressure from the root and the pressure from the head center, they are both pushing so that the manifestation and action and then the communication can happen through the throat center. So it is our form of expression through both communication and action, must be connected to a motor for action to happen. Okay, and then many different voices that take place here, and we're going to get into that when we drop into the center and I talk about all of the different gates and traits in there and qualities. And of course, it's the most complex. This is what differentiates us from other mammals, is that our larynx dropped 12,000 years ago, which has now allowed us to communicate and language. Not that they don't have language, but it's very restrictive. And mostly they telecommute anyways, and we use this language, this larynx. So, understanding that what I want to become or be, and there can be a real false reality working through there if the conditioned mind is taking place and conditioned mind is making the decision versus witnessing the life unfold. So manifestation, what happens here is our communication, manifestation, materialization, and contact with the exterior world. This is the parathyroid and the thyroid glands. This, again, is another massive, important gland in our body that helps us regulate pretty much everything. And that thyroid gland is, the thyroid disease is a real interesting concept. When things like nuclear explosions, for example, Hiroshima, they get a lot of thyroid cancer. And the thyroid helps us really decipher frequencies, helps us communicate, manifest, and if the frequency field that we are decoding is unhealthy and irritating, the thyroid gland is also going to take a hit. So, if it's undefined, are you trying to get attention from others, and do you always feel like you need to talk? So, the undefined throat center, the not self conversation sounds a little bit like, am I trying to get attention, trying to initiate conversations, taking premature action, trying to be a star. So what happens here is, if there is silence, there is such a, unbelievable not self agenda that says, I can't have silence. There has to be conversation all the time. Talk, 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 talk. Trying to get attention, and usually the communication that comes out of an undefined throat, if it's the conditioned mind, if it's staticky, the broadcast isn't clear, it is really contributing to the noise on this planet. Now, on the other side, when this is undefined or totally open, and somebody is actually following their strategy and authority, they can beautifully communicate what the entire whole needs to hear. So the not self-talk of the undefined throat center, where should I go so that I can get attention I want? Is anyone noticing me? And if I say this, will I be noticed? If I initiate this conversation, then will I get attention I deserve? I better say something because the silence is making me uncomfortable. What action should I take to manifest? I better manifest something. And what or who will I become in this life? So I want you to relax into knowing that if this is undefined in your body graph, you can be one of the most profound communicators on our planet as long as all of this not self-talk takes a back seat and you get to observe who is asking, who is inviting, and who is initiating you to have a conversation. And then listening to your inner authority to guide you as to whether that conversation is something that you need to engage in, and will that engagement bring correct action, and will that engagement bring correct communication. Totally open throat, not knowing what to say. I know quite a few of these people that have totally open throat centers. And when they communicate at a profound, deep level, it reverberates throughout your entire body. So the not self strategy, the throat, 29% of the population have it undefined. So quite similar to the sacral center, right? 70% have it defined, 70% have the throat defined. So there's 30% of the population on either one of those centers that have it undefined. So let's take a look at the not self strategy. Always looking for and trying to get attention. If this is the only undefined center, it is the heart and soul of the not self decision making, almost obsessive, looking for a way to take spontaneous action. The not self decisions, I have to keep talking so I'll be noticed. I can't stand not taking action. Just do it. Silence drives me mad. Very, very interesting. And a lot of times what will take place is that not only will the throat be undefined, there's lots of times where the root center will be undefined. And when those two are undefined together, and they're the only two, there is some massive, massive action, incorrect action that takes place, trying so hard to get attention. And I know some people that just have the throat center undefined, and they constantly talk. Their throat is always like they're clearing their throat, they're trying to clear phlegm. It's very interesting to watch it all take place. The true self doesn't have to do anything to get attention, knows when and what attention is worth getting, and comfortable with silence as their natural state. So somebody who has this undefined, when you're able to just enter into an interaction and be completely present in the conversation, you can actually become a beautiful channeler for that other person. And what do I mean, channeler? Well, you get to mirror back to them really what they are trying to say to themselves. Does that make sense? Undefined throat centers, when these people, when the 30% of the population are able to relax and wait to be initiated, invited into a conversation, asked to respond to a question, the profound wisdom that flows through this center can reverberate the other person to the core of who they are, because it's like having a conversation with yourself. That might confuse some of you, and if it does, we'll chat about it in the lives. So bring it up to me, because a lot of times I channel this information myself. I usually do a ton of videos and a ton of client interactions and coaching, so I don't always remember what I say, because most of the time, well, I have no idea what I'm going to say. It just happens through me. So the wisdom here is knows who and what is worthy of attention, potential to express oneself in a variety of ways, such as singing or multilingual. The effect of the defined on the undefined, there's pressure to talk, get attention, or to avoid attention when it's correct. The pressure to initiate actions that aren't a response or an invitation. So, natural and healthy state of a defined throat has a fixed style of speaking and acting, and uses strategy and authority to find the correct timing for communicating an action. So, depending on your design, you may speak primarily from your mind and what you're thinking and conceptualizing. You may speak spontaneously from intuitive knowing in the moment. You may speak and act on responsive sounds from the gut. You may speak from personal identity or direction, or from your higher self. You may speak the I want that, or I have that, or I will do that. Or you may speak or act from emotions and or feelings. The undefined throat remains quiet and does not act until initiated to speak or to do something. Not concerned with planning what they will say, good at knowing who speaks the truth. Transformation and metamorphosis does not happen constantly, but rather in spurts. So the unhealthy state, defined throat, talks too much and does too much. Gives their energy away at every impulse. The defined throat, or undefined throat, tries to get attention with words or action, tries to be a manifester, talks excessively, very insecure about what they will say, and trying to be a star. Okay. So now what I want to do is, we're coming to the close of all of the centers. Now I'm going to share with you just this quick slide so that you can see the biological correspondence with each one of the centers. Now again, this is brief. All of this is very brief. But we have to build and build and build and build and build. Like if I filled you right full of absolutely everything that these centers can do right off the hop, it would be overwhelming, and most likely you would not continue on. So we're going to go briefly, and there's going to be lots of modules to soak in everything, but everything will be beautifully labeled so that you can walk through this easily, quickly, and in a simplified manner. So again, you've seen this slide more than once. The application of the information. Recognize where the not self and the shadows are popping up in your life, career, and relationships. Take an objective approach to the application of this information. You are the witnesser, not the judge, and not the jury. How this all plays out is only as good as the one observing. The observer changes the quantum. And if you've never heard of this, Google the observer effect. Be prepared to discuss this in our live workshops. All right, we will now move on, and we are going to go to definition. So the splits, triple splits, quad splits, and then we will move on to type, strategy, and authority. Thank you.